So Luke, good morning.
Good morning.
I normally say the sun's shining in Poundbury, so welcome to the office, and actually it's a bit
It's crazy, isn't it, for June?
unhappy out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, tell us who you are and what you do.
Amazing, thank you. So I'm Luke Fribbens. I'm the founder and CEO of a digital agency called Cold Banana.
Cold Banana, great name.
Yeah, so Cold Banana are a product development agency, I suppose we'd class ourselves these days.
Okay.
Historically, we would be known as a web development agency, but websites aren't the only thing that exists in the digital world these days. So we end up building websites and apps and a lot of software and things like that. So it's more than just a web development agency these days.
Great stuff. So I have to ask you about the name.
Yeah.
So it's not Apple, it's not BlackBerry, but it's Cold Banana. Why Cold Banana?
Unfortunately, I'm a developer and I'm not a marketing person, so it was two random words. I set the business up very quickly overnight, and I sat on the sofa with my wife, and we had two random word generators.
Oh, really?
I think banana came up first, and we were like, oh, okay, banana works quite well, let's find something that goes with it. But fast forward 11 years, it works very well as a name, and I think being in the digital space as well, you can call yourself what you want.
Of course you can.
You don't have to be that professional like lawyers.
But it makes it memorable.
It does, definitely. Yeah, it does, definitely. And to be honest, it's been fine until we set the business up in Dubai a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I had someone come to me and say, it's potentially you need something a bit more professional. Yeah.
Really interesting.
But I stuck with it, and we stuck with Cold Banana, and it's been absolutely fine. And it's not caused us any problems.
Fantastic. So you mentioned you set the business up overnight. So without poking too deeply into what happened, can you just explain what that kind of sequence of events and why you did it?
Yeah, certainly. So I've been an entrepreneur for since I was young, basically. So I think I first set my business up when I was 13. I was coding from 13, and I built an e-commerce business at that point, just in my bedroom. Yeah,
crikey.
I grew up in Kent, so I grew up in a small village, not much to do. Yeah, it was almost an hour commute every day to school, so on the bus and stuff. So my evenings and weekends, I had a couple of friends local, but my evenings and weekends were sat in my bedroom playing computer games, or I started to learn to code. So I taught myself coding. It was in the early days of kind of websites, and it grew from there. So I built a website just for a local sports club, and then I thought actually maybe I could make some money out of this. So I built an e-commerce website for selling cufflinks. Yeah, very weird, very niche, but that's exactly why I did it, because I was the first ever e-commerce website selling cufflinks, and only cufflinks.
Wow.
And that kind of spawned into an eBay shop and things like that when eBay first launched, basically. And I was just doing it for fun. Wow. So I remember getting home from school, and I'd always look at my printer because I had it all set up so it would print the labels and the orders when I got back from school. So I'd walk into my bedroom and see how thick the stack of paperwork was to see whether I could go out on the weekend.
What a great story.
Yeah, I loved it. And that got me into business, but that got me into coding as well. Yeah. I remember actually when I think it was 13, 14 when I set the business up, and I went to it was Barclays Bank back at the time, and I walked into the bank to set a business bank up, and my dad was with me. Yeah. And the business manager spoke directly to my dad and said, what are you here for? And he said, I've no idea, it's my son's business. But I wasn't old enough to have my own business. So it was all in my dad's name at that time, but it was quite funny.
That's a classic story.
Yeah, set me off on my journey. And so I've always loved development. And when I left university, I worked for a software company for a year, and I actually came to Bournemouth University. And I had a 4-year course doing business in IT, which is very convenient because it's exactly what I'd still do today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was lucky enough to have a placement year, and it was my 3rd year at university. I worked for a software company in Poole, and during that year I grew within the business, and I ended up managing a small team, and the company got acquired close to when I was leaving and going back to university. And a lot of people left. The office got moved to Newbury and things like that. And they were desperate to have me back, which was fantastic for me. They offered me a contract to come back and work for them after university.
Okay.
They paid all my university fees as a bonus for me to come back.
Real bonus.
So I was, in my element at that time, and I could go back to university and really focus on my studies and not have the worry of finding a job. I had the confidence that I could stick around in Bournemouth, which is always a passion to do.
Yeah.
And I was contracted to work for them for 12 months.
Yeah.
I think I did 12 months and 1 day, and I asked for a move to one of the other development teams internally, which the opportunity wasn't there at the time.
Yeah.
So I left. The idea was that I was going to go travelling.
Okay.
I'd planned 3 months to travel around America, and friends of mine that had just set up a digital agency, they'd only been doing it 3 months, I think, at the time. They came to me and said, they worked with me at the software company prior, and they said, we'd love you to come and join us. We're startup, good fun. And I'd worked with them before, so I knew their characters and things like that. Really nice people. And I took the opportunity and said, actually, this might be a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So I did it. Joined them as a junior developer, and I think 9 years later, I was still there as a director, and we'd jointly grown the business to that point. And then I left quite quickly. So I left relatively quickly overnight and didn't really know what I was going to do. So I was sat around, again, coming back to the story, me and my wife sat on the sofa, sat around not knowing what to do.
Same sofa, or had you bought a new one?
No. And I had clients calling me up, asking me what I was doing. And a couple of them offered me jobs. Other partner agencies offered me jobs, literally, as well. But 2 of them said, we need to move all of our stuff to whatever company you're moving to. So I said to them, well, if I set up on my own, would that class? Now, so one of them was a big hotel chain, and multi-millions of pounds went through their website every day. So it was a huge risk wherever they kind of moved the development and support to. So I had the conversation with them. I said, if you can get the kind of contracts through with the directors, then we'll start working tomorrow. And that did. And we came up with the business that night and sent them the contracts, and it all got signed. And that gave me the start of Cold Banana.
I love that.
It's been, if I look back on it, it has been non-stop ever since I was young. I haven't had a chance to really take some time off and break. But with that said, I love it. I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, I can tell the way you talk about it. It comes out.
So.
And it's never a smooth journey, right? There are always lots of bumps in the road as you go along.
Yeah, massively.
So if I ask you what the biggest thing that you've learned during that lengthy period of entrepreneurship from the age of 13, you're only about 18 now.
I appreciate that.
But during that period, what's the biggest lesson you've learned, the thing that you would advise other people to be aware of? Or
difficult one. I think there's a couple of things. So I was lucky enough to go into an area of development that's quite niche. So we kind of work on the Microsoft stack, and that's what we've always done. So when I worked at my previous agency, but also at Cold Banana, we've always had a bit of a niche of specialism in what we do. Even locally, we're based in Bournemouth, but the closest competitor is probably Southampton. So we're not like a lot of other agencies or web development agencies. We've niched down into a certain technology. And that's allowed kind of the reverse. So customers come to us rather than us constantly chasing customers, which is nice. So niching down is certainly something that I would recommend, across the board. Exactly that. And when you think back at it, you kind of go, I started that when I was 13, picking something that no one else does and just being really good at it and really passionate about it. And I've never been a salesperson. Ultimately, I think I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a good developer. But sales is I enjoy it these days, and I enjoy the buzz of it. But I would never say I was a good salesperson at all. So I always kind of said I needed to develop or build something that sold itself. And that's what I did with the cufflinks thing, and that's what I kind of do these days at Cold Banana. Is that we built a brand and built a business that clients want to work with. So when we walk into the room and chat to new potential clients, they already want to work with us, and when the sell is much easier if that's it.
They've approached you because of your niche and your reputation.
And ultimately we walk in the room and we're just ourselves, and we're not arrogant by saying you either want to work with us or don't want to work with us. We're walking in the room without that pressure and just kind of being ourselves and telling them what we do and what we've done in the past. And If it doesn't gel and it's not going to work, then fine. We're not going to force it and just try and get money out of them for the sake of it.
Yeah, of course. That's that classic thing, isn't it? No interest. People often talk about salespeople are the hardest people to hire. But the predominant reason for that is that most salespeople aren't themselves. True. They have to put on a mask in order to be the salesperson.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's the thing that puts people off.
Yeah, very true.
You just need to be genuine. Right?
Yeah, the best salespeople are themselves and being genuine.
Yeah.
And not trying to sell the dream.
Yeah, so you might not be a salesperson, but who's built all the sales in the business
that's
over these?
Very true.
You, right?
Yeah. And they say the best salespeople sell without selling.
Yeah.
And then that's a combination of having the right product and believing in it, but also just being natural and being a good person. People buy from people.
They do.
If people don't want to buy from someone that's trying to pull the wool over their eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, no interest. All
very
that kind
true.
of stuff. Really important.
Yeah, very
So
true.
if you were going to start the business all over again and you didn't have that first client and you had to build it from ground zero, so I'm going to give you $5,000 and a laptop, would you do it again?
I would, yeah. I do miss that early startup stage.
Yeah.
So I think as Cold Banana, we're like trying to build a couple of products and things like that. And I'm super passionate about that because it's exciting and it's small and you get that first sale.
Yeah.
And not that I've fallen out of love with it at all. And I absolutely love what I do at Cold Banana, but you do get to a point that it's a bit of a machine.
Yeah.
And you're bringing in sales and you're going, okay, that keeps the lights on for another month.
Yeah.
You don't lose, you lose that kind of passion. I remember in the early days, we'd ring a bell in the office, sell £1,000 or £100,000. But yeah, I would do it again, and I did enjoy that early stage stuff. Yeah. And like I say, I was fortunate that I didn't have to spend all my savings or take a big loan to start the business. Yeah. I think I still work all hours of the day, but you've got to be working over and above anybody else to achieve. You've got to really think about what it is that you want to do and what it is you want to deliver, and not just go into it and go, I'm going to set up a business. And the other thing is, getting paid as a business is slow.
Yeah.
So if you start a business today and you've got £5,000, brilliant. Okay, that might last you 2 months.
Yeah.
But even if you got work on the first day, I remember when I first started, I had work day one, paying very well, but they wouldn't pay for 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
And I had work day one. So most businesses spend 3 months, 6 months building a business before they even get a first client.
Yeah.
And then you've got to wait a couple of months to get paid and things like that. So cash flow's a difficult thing. Agreed. And like we touch wood, we've always been very strong on cash flow and always made sure that we've kind of kept money within the business for tough times. Yeah. But I've certainly seen other businesses and stuff like that where they get the money in and they're quite quick to spend it, quite good to go into it.
It's interesting because that cash flow is important, of course, but the cash gap between you spending the money effectively and then getting the receipt for it, if you're in manufacturing these days, that cash gap could be 120 days plus. And so how do you then bridge that gap?
And the bigger the companies you work with, the longer it is as well. So we generally do enterprise clients and the work we do. But that just brings more problems, more procurement. So it takes, 6-9 months to win a project. Yeah. And then when you do finally get an invoice out, it takes 90 days to get paid. It does make it a lot trickier.
Which is the inverse of what it should be, right? Because they're larger companies, they've got cash, they should pay faster than another SME that you might be doing business
completely.
with.
But I get it to a lower extent. Like, they have the power to some extent, but also there's so many layers of security and finance these days. I mean, we're only a small business, but my wife who's our finance director, she'll get emails every day from someone spoofing to be me, telling them to pay an account. Insane. And we're just a small business and we can chat to each other. But you imagine being a big corporate and how they're having to protect against those sort of things. And you can see why they put the guardrails in of these things. But
it just becomes a process, doesn't it? I mean, once you're able to turn the wheels quite quickly in a larger organisation, having done it a couple of times, you can't do that.
No.
My greatest challenge always when I was at Symantec was getting stuff out of legal.
Yeah.
And nobody could get anything out of legal for 3 months. I want the contract tomorrow. No, I don't want to wait 3 months for it.
Yeah.
So you had to figure out how to work your way into the organisation to get that to happen.
We do a few bits of government work as well. So we do a bit of work with Scottish Government at the moment, and in the past have done some councils, but NHS and stuff like that. Yeah. And like you say, I think kind of contracts and things like that at those levels are very slow, and you just have to accept it. And you can't.
You have to be financially strong enough to accept it.
Very true. Very true. And you have to go into it knowing that you need the cash flow as a business. to see you through a few months before you're even going to get paid by this project. So,
yeah.
and that's challenging as you grow. It's challenging because you bring on more people, they need paying, and you win this big new project and you think, oh, everything's going to be fine. But actually, you're effectively funding it for the first couple of months before you're going to get paid. Yeah, it does make it challenging.
Interesting times, I think. Yeah. I mean, economically interesting times as well. So, of course, the other thing that everybody's talking about these days is AI and the impact that has, particularly in the digital world, as the space you play in. If I wanted to build a website today, I could go and have a chat with my mate Claude.
Completely.
And build a website.
Yeah, completely.
Is it going to be the best website? Possibly not, but
no.
A very small SME, as a micro business, you might choose to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So how's AI working? Is it working for you or is it working against you?
It's a good question. I think it does a bit of both for us. So for us, a lot of our clients are enterprise level. So at the moment, touch wood, that will change. They wouldn't go and just build their own site using Claude or something. However, the smaller SMEs or the plumbers and things like that can. And that's great. And they can build it themselves. Whereas historically, they'd have had to pay £500, £1,000 for that. Yeah. So that area of the market is definitely struggling. Yeah, for us, we're using it a lot in our day-to-day, and that's a combination of, I'm not diagnosed dyslexic, but I'm pretty sure I'm dyslexic. I use it all the time to help me write emails or proofread stuff, or I'll write an email and give it to ChatGPT to tell me
clean it
up and make it sound like a human and not an idiot. But I've always had that. So for me, those sort of things have massively sped up my day-to-day. And it will help me write proposals and things like that and clean that up. It'll help me kind of check stuff, whether it's figures and things. But also from a coding perspective. So our team I've set a target within the team that I want them to be 20 to 30% more efficient. And we are going through a process. We set that about a year ago. The difficulty is how do we track that? How do we really understand it? Because of what we do at a day-to-day is we're building something today that we've never built before. So we can't compare that building that is 20% quicker than what it was a year ago. So it is difficult. We do have to really dig into how people are using it, but every developer in our team works with it in a different way, and we've not said to this date that it's a hard and fast, you must use this or you must follow this process, because every developer works in a different way. So I use it in a certain way, and I'll sit with the team when I find a kind of some efficiencies. I'll sit with the team and say, have you tried this? But we're certainly noticing an improvement there, and a lot of what developers build these days is a copy of what they've done 6 months ago. So if we can speed that up, then great. But again, a lot of what we build is quite complicated, and it needs a lot of brain power or integration stuff. So that still needs a lot of human element to understand how this is going to work, especially in doing government projects and things like that. You can't use AI at all. That's all, which is completely fair enough. But I think it's going to be the juniors that are going to struggle, because they're the ones that are quite easily replaced by AI at the moment. And if they're not getting jobs because of AI, then how are they ever going to get into the market? So I think the senior developers, because they understand what AI is spitting out, they're the ones that can go, okay, this is right and that's not. Whereas a lot of the time, a junior developer will use AI to write a bit of code and just think that's fine. And the kind of projects that we do, not just government, but finance projects and things like that, finance clients that we work with, you can't just stick it up and hope that it works. You have to be very careful with that. So I do worry for the kind of the youngsters coming into the development world. I think ultimately they've just got to embrace AI and use it to their advantage. And
use it as a tool.
Completely.
But don't believe everything it tells you, not right now anyway. I did listen to a great podcast from Mo Gordat yesterday, which I'll send you the link to. But when you listen to it, it's okay. He said 10 years from now, the world is going to be great because of AI. He said, but the next year, he said, you've got to be really careful. Lots of stuff going on.
Wow.
So you mentioned youngsters. So I know you have a daughter at school. How old is she?
She's 6. 6 a couple of weeks ago.
So she's got 12 more years at school. What does that look like from an education point of view when you think about we run a 1952 education system in this country right now?
So true.
how do you get AI to be a benefit to a 6-year-old who's going to grow up in a world where it isn't going to look anything like it does today, is it? The world of work is going to be different, and I think lots of other stuff that's attached to it.
Yeah. I think my daughter's school is fairly good. They all have iPads, so even that on its own they're embracing technology.
Yeah.
And some of the kind of games, or like they were doing maths games or English games and things like that, it's teaching them not just maths and English, it's teaching them the troubleshooting techniques, which is amazing, because they're transferable skills, which is super important.
Agreed, yeah.
But there's still this void of technology and AI and things like that they don't teach at school. And so I do a lot of work with Bournemouth University and Bournemouth and Paul College as well.
Yeah.
I have done for a number of years, sit on advisory boards to talk to them about what they should be teaching, basically.
Yeah.
As much as I love Bournemouth University and an alumni myself, they've always been a challenge. Like, they are 4 or 5 years behind, and they've admitted themselves that they are slow moving in terms of changing new technologies and what they're teaching. The college, on the other hand, is much, much better. We could have a chat with them now, and in September they'll be bringing in a new course kind of unit. So I don't know why that is, but they obviously have more kind of ability to adapt and change. But like you say, I think the schools are still a massive problem, because you look at curriculum at schools, they've not really changed. You've still got this very small part of IT, whatever that is.
Yes.
My days at school was doing a spreadsheet, but these days I think is a little bit more coding. They do some coding challenges and things like that.
Sure.
But it's still only 10% max of their weekly work.
Yeah.
And is that ever going to change? I don't know.
So I've got an 8-week-old grandson and a 15-year-old granddaughter, and 6 in between.
Wow, blimey.
So we talk about this a lot, because I think you're right. The comment you made about the challenge for junior coders coming into the business and what have you is, how do they embrace what they've got? How do they get the best out of it?
Yeah.
I just think you go 6, you add 12 years, and you go, ChatGPT went live to the market in 23.
Yeah.
So here we are, not even 3 years later.
Exactly.
And look at the way the world has changed. 12 years from now, it's unfathomable, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, completely.
Unfathomable.
When you talk about robots and things like that, and I've been to obviously loads of tech conferences, and some of the ones in Dubai that I've been to have been far more advanced than the ones I've been to in the UK. But you still see robots and things, you think these are fantastic, but you look behind the curtain and it's still someone on a remote control. So I've not seen really good technology in those sort of robots yet. But equally, I've been to America a couple of times over the last couple of years, and they've got the autonomous taxis and things like that.
Yeah.
And the technology in those are unbelievable.
They are, absolutely.
And I think they're trialling them in London at the moment, hoping to launch that quite soon. But
you
look at things like that and you go, there's pretty much every taxi driver in London. What are they going to do?
Incredible, isn't it?
So it's going to be interesting. It is really going to be interesting. And I think you've got to, and we're in an industry that kind of, you look back at where the internet was 10, 20 years ago and things like that.
Excuse me, pause for 1 second. Blimey.
Yeah, no, you look back at where the internet was 10, 20 years ago and where it is today. People didn't have apps, people didn't have mobile phones that you could scroll things on, and barely had computers. So you have to evolve, and whatever job you're in, you have to evolve. I think our world of digital and what we work in is constantly changing, and our team are constantly having to learn new technologies or new devices. We get clients coming to us and saying our product doesn't work on this device, and it's a device that came out 2 weeks ago and never seen it before. But that's part of the challenge, and I think that's part of why people really enjoy working in our industry, and you have to keep up with it.
So you talked about product, which is an unusual phrase to use when you're in a kind of a digital business, so to speak. So what does a product look like in your terminology? It's
an interesting one, and we've gone through various different iterations of what we do at Cold Banana, and we boiled it down that we build products for clients. So whether it is a website or whether it is an app or an internal sales system or an integration, it's a product that is utilising and giving efficiencies to their business. It's a digital product these days, and that's not necessarily something that they're going and buying off the shelf or selling to their clients. Sure. But it's something that they are using as a business to
okay, so a business tool for them, developed by you, and based on, you mentioned the Microsoft stack earlier on. Is that the bulk of what you
it is the bulk of what we do. So I've been working in development for a long time, and when I worked for that software company when I left, or when I was at university, they specialised in .NET and Microsoft, and that's what got me into it, and that's why I became an expert in that area. And what I found quite quickly is that there's not many people doing it, which again, coming back was great for me. And I could be that expert in that area. But what it does mean is that, what it does mean is there's a lot less projects in the area. So generally, if someone's building something on the Microsoft technology stack, it's going to be more expensive than if they're building it on a PHP stack. Now, the reason for that is Microsoft has licenses, or servers cost a little bit more to run this than they do to run that. So that's generally why our work will be a bit more enterprise. So it's either bigger companies or more complicated systems that need an extra layer of security and things like that. It is more niche, but it does drive
but less people playing in that space, I guess, as well.
A lot less competition, which again is nice. And locally, but to be honest, we don't do a huge amount of work locally. That's our scattered across the UK. We've actually probably got more clients in Scotland than we have anywhere else, typically, the furthest away.
Interesting.
So, we're not confined to where our clients are. And, because we are very niche in what we do, we end up, having to travel and finding clients.
So why did you buy Office? What was that? Was that part of an expansion plan, or was that an opportunity?
It's a good question. It was an expansion plan, basically. So, coming back to the niche thing, one of the biggest challenges with that is recruitment. The university don't teach the development language that we write in. And hence why I've over the years done work with the university and the college, because we've always taken a lot of placement students and graduates from the university, as well as apprentices from Bournemouth and Paul College. But what we were finding is they were coming in completely fresh, and we were having to teach them from scratch. So we started to work with them to try and get them up to speed with the coding language before we did it. But also, it was so that if they knew about it, they'd be looking for jobs in that area. Whereas it's been very much the other way around. We're having to go to the college and say, if you're looking for a development job, look at us, basically. So it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. We took on a couple of projects, and we needed to expand the development team relatively quickly. So I think we had probably 4 or 5 months to take on 4 or 5 new developers.
Well, that's a challenge, isn't it?
We put the job out in Bournemouth like we do with any of the jobs, and even to this day, for the last 10 years, we'll probably get 2 applicants a year for our development jobs. It's very slow, and the level of developers we needed weren't graduates. They needed to be 5 years in the industry. And being in Bournemouth, that's always been a struggle. I think people either come out of university, they spend a couple of years in Bournemouth, and then they move to London, or they go to London for 10, 15 years and then they come down. So you don't have that middle ground of experienced kind of staff. So that's always been a challenge for us. So we said, okay, we're open to setting up another office. At this time, this was before COVID, at this time we wanted everyone in the office. We were used to people being in the office. So the idea of recruiting remotely we didn't really like. So we said we're going to pick a location and we'll create an office for these 4 or 5 members of staff. So we put jobs out. We just decided to do some research. We put jobs out in, I think it was Brighton, London, Manchester, and then abroad. So we did Poland, Dubai, Bulgaria, I think, and India or something like that. Real kind of spread. So we put the same job out. We monitored the number of applicants as well as the quality of applicants. So typical UK it was okay in kind of London and things like that, but very expensive, way more than we paid in Bournemouth, which was expected. But Dubai shone out in terms of the number of applicants. I think we had 450 applicants in 24 hours.
Good grief.
Yeah. So Dubai's got like and they're still to this day they have it. They have a 3-month visitor visa, basically. The purpose of that is for you to find a job. So a lot of people will go to Dubai and they'll try and find a job. So they're on the ground doing interviews. And that's how Dubai has kind of helped grow its economy and workforce, basically. So you've got a lot of people in Dubai unemployed and looking for jobs, and they can start immediately as well. So we were like 450 applicants, that's amazing. But don't get me wrong,
What's the quality?
80 to 90% weren't great. But we had to completely change our recruitment process, because in the UK, we get max 10 applicants over a couple of weeks, and we can filter through those CVs manually. We couldn't filter through 450 CVs.
No.
So we ended up doing English tests online, developer tests online, to really filter down the ones that couldn't communicate. Because as much as people can code, and that's great, we need them to be able to properly communicate. If we're asking them to do a task, they need to understand that task. 100%. They need to be able to finish the task and communicate back to us how it works. So it's super important that level of communication was there. And so but after we did all of that, we still had about 30 or 40 really good, strong candidates, and we probably would have recruited them all. So it was a tough one, and I think we employed 4 people day one, and we set the office up. That was relatively quick as well. That took so we had to set up a business in Dubai so that we could employ people. To have a business, you need an office, but we wanted an office anyway. And overall, I think it cost just under £10,000 to set it all up.
Very good.
Now, one of the main reasons, the other reasons we picked Dubai was we didn't want to be. We've always been very passionate about all our staff work for us. We do use contractors here and there, but we are very strong on how they're trained and very strict on that, especially with especially with our kind of more secure clients and government clients and that. So we didn't want this kind of reputation of just having an Indian development office or a cheap office in Poland. So that was the other thing in Dubai, is that they get paid the same salaries as we pay here. To be honest, their salaries are increasing quicker than the rate over the years than they are here. But equally, they are still on the same kind of salaries here and there. So and reputationally, it was a good place to set up a second office. So it didn't have that stigma of an offshore development team. It was our team, and it's an office that we were building.
And remote management's really hard.
Yeah,
so
massively.
Your point about getting exactly the right people with the right mentality and everything. So how did that pan out? How did those 4 people work out?
It's been great, to be honest. It's been absolutely brilliant. 2 of them are still with us for various reasons. The other 2 have left, and over the years we've recruited a couple more, and we're just going through a process at the moment of recruiting 2 more. So we're trying to grow that business again. But what I found is that they're very loyal workers. They work super hard. The time difference was a challenge because all our project managers are in the UK. And up until last couple of years, all our clients are still in the UK as well. So we have started to win work out there, but that was an afterthought. It wasn't our intention in the first place. But we had to kind of change our mindset to prepare the guys for work for the following day.
What's the time difference?
3 or 4 hours. So depending on daylight savings in the UK, it's either 3 or 4 hours. So when it's 4 hours difference, that is a challenge.
Half a day.
Exactly. So we've got in a good routine now, and also the developers out there are good and self-sufficient. So if they're stuck on something, they won't just sit around doing nothing. They will find other things to do.
Very good.
So it's worked very well, and like I say, even to the point that we are now looking to grow it out a bit more.
Excellent.
But we're still in the same office. It's obviously Dubai's changing a lot. I think it's about 4.5, 5 years now.
Yeah, very good. It's changed massively, hasn't it, in that time?
And I go every 2 months, every 3 months, that sort of thing, as often as I can to spend time with the team. Because the other thing is that up until this point, we haven't got any management out there. So effectively, they are a remote team that report into their line managers in the UK. So I try and go out there and show face and work with them as much as I can. But obviously, with a family, that does make it challenging. But I appreciate the importance of doing it. But I think their work culture is amazing.
The work ethic certainly is brilliant.
Really, really good.
Agreed.
And I love what Dubai have done to the city. I mean, they get some negative press here and there for various reasons.
It's a bit Marmite in various places. Exactly. But you can live with that. Then it's definitely a great place to be.
For me, there's a lot of positives, and I think it's got that huge scale. And coming back to one of the points you mentioned earlier, so I've got an 18-year-old stepson, struggling to find a job. He's still at college at the moment, but struggling to find a part-time job in a coffee shop or anything like that. And part of the reason is the minimum wage and things like that. It's
absolutely.
You can't get into the industry when you can hire a 25-year-old on the same salary and the 25-year-old's unemployed as well. It's a tough world for the youngsters here. And as much as they have got a lot more employee rights out of Dubai these days than they had probably 5-10 years ago.
It used to be a free-for-all, didn't it?
It used to be really bad, and they have improved it massively. And as an employer, they're much stricter on us on what we offer out and things like that. We can't force them to work outside of the hours that are in their contract. And
so if you were an 18-year-old, what would you do?
I'd move to Dubai.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I think from doing work in Dubai, it's really opened my eyes on the world of business. As much as I've always done work in the UK, and I think we've done bits of work with clients in Europe and stuff like that, in Germany and bits. But having gone to Dubai to see a completely different lifestyle, culture, the way they do business, it's been eye-opening, definitely. And I haven't even explored kind of Singapore and Asia or America and stuff like that. But it's really opened my eyes to like the wider world of work and not be afraid of moving as well. And that's the other thing, is that I think you kind of grow up in a place, and I think that's what's great about university, is it really pushes you out your comfort zone. When I first went to university, it teaches you a lot about looking after yourself and moving away from your comfort blanket of home and your parents doing the washing and stuff like that. So as much as, again, university I think these days is a bit like Marmite, but I think what it does teach is those life skills.
Independence.
And I think when you go through that, you go, actually, I can move anywhere now. And it doesn't just have to be in the UK. And I think it is, it's easy to move to other countries and do work or start a career.
Well, that's easy in Europe these days, but
very true.
Different much subject. I spent time out in Singapore, brilliant place. Spent time in Hong Kong, brilliant place. Go to the US if you paid me money. Not currently.
I was going to say currently,
all those years ago. But Dubai is a great place to be. So I asked you what you'd do if you were 18. You'd go somewhere else potentially. I think the world is literally your oyster. It's easy to get to places these days, and it wasn't 25 years ago necessarily.
And I think to add to that as well, like one of the best things I did, and I didn't know it until I set up Cold Banana, was working for someone else. Working for someone else, you get taught how to be an employee, but how to be in a business. And I was fortunate enough that I worked as a director for a very similar agency to Cold Banana, so I could see the do's and the don'ts and how to treat clients. And I still very gracious of the opportunity that I had before Cold Banana, because it taught me. I got put in front of, I think I was 23, something like that. I was being put in front of big CEOs, and I was put there, and they would speak to me with confidence, and because I was the expert in the room, and
on an equal level, absolutely.
And it completely changed my mindset of they're human, and they want to have a conversation, but also you're in that room because of your knowledge, and you're the expert, so actually they're looking at you for advice. And when you get around that scared factor, it really changes your mindset on humans and hierarchy and things like that. For me, working for someone else was super important. It doesn't just have to be in the industry or in the technology that you want to end up building your own business in, but it just teaches you how to survive in the work lifestyle, work environment.
It's true. And we work with a lot of entrepreneurs who've started their business and never worked anywhere else. Their mindset is totally different. So I think you're absolutely 100%.
I've seen it a lot, especially in the agency world, of kind of youngsters will set up a business and just go flying into it, but they haven't. They make a lot of mistakes or spend a lot of and I can look back at it and go, I knew not to do that because I'd seen it how it should be done beforehand. I was very fortunate when setting up Cold Banana that I had experience before.
Very good. So you're only a young man.
I appreciate that.
Certainly a lot younger than I am. But if you looked out there, everybody should have a big, hairy, audacious goal, right? A BHAG, as we always called it. What's your big, hairy, audacious goal? What does 25 years hence look like?
Well, I'd like to think I'm retired, but these days I'm not too sure.
You're a bit of a workaholic. I've already got that.
I think, I see retirement as I've got enough money that I don't need to work, but I'd still work in because I enjoy it. But, I would carry on. Even if I sold the business tomorrow for enough money to retire, I'd still be doing something because I love it.
Yeah.
For me, coming back to the AI thing, I do worry about the future of service businesses, and that's across the board. That's not just digital. Where we're talking about autonomous taxis and things like that. Any kind of service may well get consumed by a robot or AI over the next 20 years.
We're okay down here. You can't even get Uber Eats around here. So.
That's brilliant.
But it's coming. Yeah, you're quite right.
Yeah. So it would... I've always been obviously I'm a developer as well, so I will tinker at home on trying to build software or trialing certain things. And we're doing all sorts with kind of AI and cameras and trying to just come up with the next thing. We're fortunate enough that we've got the knowledge and the skill set to do it. And it's finding the time in between our day-to-day of paying client work to be able to spend time on research and innovation, basically. We're just about to start a project with Bournemouth University, it's a 2-year project to build an AI tool for the construction industry. So we've got various construction clients that we've worked with for a number of years, so we know the industry very well. And it's an area that I feel is very behind, and still technology wise they're very much on pieces of paper and spreadsheets, and it works for them, so why change? And it's a lot of what I do these days is I will go into businesses and really understand their challenges, and I'll talk to them about what we could build or what they could just buy off the shelf to improve their business. And I think construction's been a prime example of where they're in the past.
It does feel a little bit archaic. Then the planning rules and regulations are more archaic than the construction industry.
Yeah, very true.
Don't even get me started on that one. Another one of those hot buttons. But you're right. But AI it's a bit like you go back to the Industrial Revolution. It's that all over again. But the country survived it. The world survived it.
Completely.
Everybody adapts. It's just part of the world and the way that it works these days.
Ultimately, it's driving new jobs. It's not necessarily taking old jobs. It may well in the future in certain areas. And I've said all the time, it's not going to take people's jobs. You'll get replaced by someone that can use AI. 100%. Don't get me wrong. And you've just got to embrace it and kind of work it out. But like I say, it's the same when the internet first came around. If you can only write stuff on a piece of paper and can't use a PC, you're not going to get a job. It's just an evolution.
Great. So in every podcast I talk about George, who lives around the corner. George is just about to start his new business. He's got a great idea. What would your advice be?
I would touch on the thing that I said before about working for someone else. I think depends on George's great idea. If he's, I don't know, setting up a coffee shop and there's hundreds down the road.
So research first.
Research, but also do something different. You can set up a coffee shop, but sell donuts or sell something that someone else doesn't do. I think one of the things that we did first as Cold Banana when we first started was partnerships. And it's still to this day is a big part of our business is because we niche in something, what we find is actually we can partner with other people and effectively they're our sales arm a lot of the time.
Got it.
So if, let's say I'm setting up a coffee shop, go and partner with a gym and get clients that way, or go and partner with a local coffee bean company and be the only one selling their coffee and stuff like that. So utilise partnerships that's going to drive you business and grow that way, because you're not having to do all the work yourself, but equally you're sharing the load a little bit. It's been a huge part of how we've grown. Like I said, we're not necessarily salespeople. We've got various partners throughout the UK that are different types of agencies. There might be a PR agency or a brand agency. They have no idea about technology.
Of course,
But they've got clients that they're always working with or always pitching to. And they may get a client and they'll come to us and say, can we help? Equally, they may be going for a pitch and they can say, can you come along and support us because it will help us win this pitch if we can talk about technology. So I often wear different hats and go into meetings as different clients, but I don't mind that. And it's supporting them, it's supporting us, and if it's we all win out of it. So partnerships for me has always been a really important thing, and it's something that we'll continue to push.
George listens to every podcast, so I'm sure he'll listen to that. So, Luke, that's been an
thank you very much. Really appreciate
it. So really appreciate that you taking the time to come and see us.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.